Hey, welcome back guys, and today we're going to be showcasing Ocean Breeze Luluca, the new summer limited unit in RTA or World Arena today. Now, this unit is very good into openers with non-attack skills because of her S2 and the fact that she can cut with this combat readiness push and then activate her S3 to cleanse everyone and give them that defense and ice cream cone buff, and also activate her S2 with that extra attack to silence and decrease hit chance to disrupt the enemy side. She's very good into cleave. She can pretty much single-handedly shut down cleave herself, and she is just very good against any units with non-attack skills because she will get multiple S2s and multiple S3s off into teams that constantly use non-attack skills. She's also not that bad into Meteor Calric, another cleanser that is in the meta, because Meteor Calric's S3 is his most powerful skill, and once he uses S3, if you actually activate your S2 after, what will happen is you can actually strip 2 buffs from the enemy side and actually remove Meteor Calric's immunity and attack buff he puts on his team. So you can notice my Ocean Breeze Luluca is on a pretty high effect resist build, 240% with the imprint, and then also on the artifact she goes to 280. You don't really need this much effect resist unless you're going against like an Angel of Light or something with high effectiveness usually, and in that case I do use the imprint for herself, the concentration, but most of the time I'll end up using the release to give my team more HP. You will want her at around 225, 230 speed at the least, so you can actually cut with her S2 and also her artifact, which will give you extra combat readiness push after an enemy uses a non-attack skill, depending on the level. So yeah, these are the stats that I'm running her at. You want her to be pretty bulky as well. She can single-handedly shut down cleave and also really counter those meta openers like Lua and Concrelius and even AOL. And in standard fights, you're going to notice that she's not as great as other cleansers, such as like Meteor Calric, because of the fact that she doesn't have an attack buff, but she's very good defensively with that S2 disruption with the silence and decreased hit chance, and also the defense buff and the ice cream. So here we have a replay of Ocean Break Luluca actually against a cleave team. And you're going to see why she can actually single-handedly stop cleave, especially if there's non-attack skills on the enemy side. Now, obviously my team's pretty good against cleave, but you'll see why Ocean Break Luluca is very good. So Zio goes into AOL here, because my Luluca is high ER, he probably knows that. And then Paver will actually use her S2, which will proc a counter here, and then AOL's S2. And then also what happens is Summertime Asaria, we'll see her push her team, but keep in mind, Summertime Asaria's S2 also counts as a non-attack skill. So what happens here is Ocean Break Luluca also pushes with her S2 and her artifact, making it so that she will go before Summertime Asaria. So even if these bombs landed, which one did, Luluca will be able to cleanse it off and basically make it so that Summertime Asaria can't really CC anyone except for maybe one unit if she gets lucky with her S1 Soul Burn. I guess she does have souls, so she can keep stacking, but you're going to see the reason why it's so good is because of this S3, which will give everyone defense and ice cream, which makes it so that people can't really take damage, and the ice cream truck, which will pretty much disrupt the enemy cleave team with silence and decrease hit chance. And as you can see after that, these debuffs pretty much cripple any cleave team, so pretty easy. You can see why she's super good into cleave. And here we have another replay here. This is going to be Ocean Breeze Luluca into a pretty aggressive comp featuring Concrelius. Now, he's in a pretty weird spot here because if we look very closely, Concrelius actually S3 to push up my Ocean Breeze Luluca, and I think he wanted to do this because if he did not push my Luluca past his Fairy Tail Tenebria, even if Fairy Tail Tenebria landed this S3, I would be able to instantly just S3 and cleanse it with my Luluca right after, and pretty much win the game. So he does this and kind of banks on the fact that I get 15%ed here, and you're going to see that he will actually just, pray that my Luluca doesn't actually silence the Fairy Tail Tenebria. So basically he takes his turn here, it's going to time out. I think he's thinking about what to do. He will try to provoke for the barrier, and then basically I will just use my S3 here, get my S2 proc as well, and I let Celine through this draft because with the defense buff and the ice cream cone, my Spectre Tenebria, even though she gets hit by Celine's S2, she's still at half HP, so very good defensively here. And I do land the silence here, so Celine and Fairy Tail Tenebria are pretty screwed, and it's pretty much a free one at this point because I can provoke them on the following cycle with Bellion and just do a lot of damage and clean up with my Spectre Tenebria. So you can kind of see why she is so good into aggressive comps and openers with non-attack skills, and even against Celine's because of her Ice Cream Cone and her defense buff, she can actually keep her carry alive, in this case, Spectre Tenebria. And now we have another battle against a Concrelius here with Ocean Breeze Luluca, and I just want to showcase how just having Ocean Breeze Luluca on the field can kind of prompt the enemy to play a little bit different, right? Usually, whenever you're playing with Concrelius, I'd say like 80% of the time you're going to be S3ing or S2ing on the first turn. But with Ocean Breeze Luluca on the field, because of her S2, you kind of want to stop this secondary effect, the ice cream truck, from going off. So you might want to actually rethink your thoughts, and you might play a little bit weirdly. So yeah, we're going to kind of see why I'm saying this. But my ace does go first here, one-shots the strays with the Gab from Alexa's basket. And now he's in a pickle where he kind of has to decide whether he wants to get the Vigor buff up and proc my Luluca's S2, and she can cleanse off all of the decreased attack, or if she just wants to, you know, S1 or even S2, and I can still proc my S2 there. But yeah, he does go for the S1, so my Luluca doesn't really have anything to do. I could put up the defense buff and the Ice Cream Cone, but I'm not really in a threat here. I really want to get rid of that decreased attack from Lilius' S3 here. So we'll just S1 and actually boost my LR Crow to the front. Now, here I think I make a pretty big mistake. I think I should have just S3'd here to kind of just secure the win, but I do go for the S1 and kind of be more greedy here because I want to get more damage later on, but I don't really need the damage. I was kind of thinking that Crow was my only real answer to Edward Elric here, so I need to pump out as much damage as I can, but I think I should have just maybe in hindsight just used my S3 for the immunity. So Jacko here, gonna go for a debuff on my LR Crow. Gets resisted because I am on 100% effect resist. And then the Edward Elric will also go to my LR Crow, fishing for the stun as well from the chain of Chiron or a different debuff. But I am on effect resist, so yeah, my Acid will just defense break the Jacko here, and because I don't want to activate this equivalent exchange from Edward Elric, the counter attack with this decreased chance for my S1, which is in other situations better, I will just S3 the Jacko here to finish her off, because yeah, Edward Elric does have that chain of Chiron still, so he can get lucky and proc some really nasty debuffs. And yeah, now he finally goes for the Vigor buff, but I feel like he should have did that in the beginning, right? I think even against Ocean Breeze, you kind of have to go for it because it makes your team so tanky, the Vigor buff. And he's just in a situation where he's in a worse spot than he was at the start of the game. So yeah, you're going to see why. Like Ocean Breeze Luluca gets the S2, cut into the S3, defense buff, Ice Cream, and also the Ice Cream truck coming in with debuffs coming out on the other side. Honestly works out for him because Edward Elric gets the counter off. But yeah, it's just too late. I think having Ocean Breeze on the field here, it probably would have turned out the same if he used it earlier. But you can see why she is such a good threat against the Concrelius picks. And because of this, I kind of like to bait out people to pick Concrelius. I think if you have Ocean Breeze Luluca, you can ban like Lua and Zio or Lua and whatever else and try to bait out the Concrelius. And then you can pick her into Concrelius's, and she is pretty good. Yeah, in the end, I didn't even get the speed buffed S3, so it's kind of a waste here on my LR Crow, like I said. But yeah, there's not really a way he can win. I guess he can kind of solo my entire team with Edward Elric if he gets lucky, and my LR Crow dies pretty fast. But yeah, you can see I did get pretty lucky. I hit my S3 with my Acid. I think if that S3 didn't land, this fight would be a lot closer, but I still think I'd be favored here because my Chiron will just keep doing a lot of damage. And funnily enough, yeah, he does lose here, but funnily enough, my Chiron's S1 is not even moloed all the way, so the decreased chance isn't even maxed out, so it's even better for me. But yeah, you can kind of see why Ocean Breeze Luluca is super good here, right? I guess in the battle results it doesn't really show, but she does so much on the field against anything with non-attack skills, and even if they don't decide to use their non-attack skills, Ocean Breeze Luluca is very strong because her S1 can see our push, and just keep in mind she will eventually get that S2 off into the fight because of the fact that her S2 keeps proccing, and she can S3 for 3 focus, and she can even S1 for the focus, and she cycles super fast. So yeah, just overall thoughts about Ocean Breeze Luluca. I think she's a pretty good pick into aggressive comps with non-attack skills. I think in standard gameplay, she's not the best pick because she kind of doesn't really do anything, and she kind of gets countered by some units, right? So if we look at like some battles, like you can see like she struggles in standard comps. Like I'm losing most of my defeats with Ocean Breeze Luluca will be against standard. So this is like a pretty standard team I lose to. Another standard team I lose to because she just cannot keep up with like DN's healing and stuff like that and cleansing, right? And oops, wrong button. And also like this battle I believe was also standard here, kind of less standard, but it was just like ran a little bit more aggressive. But the fact that LR Crow's on the other side, like she gets countered pretty hard by LR Crow because of her S2, I feel like, and against AOLs she can kind of struggle if she fights two cleansers here. So yeah, there's a lot of, I'm not saying she's super broken, but she is a very good counter pick into certain comps, and she can net you some free wins. So you definitely want to make sure you have her built and ready to go because there are a lot of aggressive players in the current meta. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, guys. If you guys want to see more RTA content, let me know, and I'll see you guys next video.